Oh, okay, we're ready.
Nice.
Welcome.
Welcome. Welcome.
Welcome to the Unhinged BookCast, a podcast hosted by Jess and LJ who love all things fantasy books. I'm LJ.
And I'm Jess, and we're happy to have you back again.
Whether we're deep diving into thoughts and theories or just riding the vibes, we love discussing our current reads with each other and now with all of you.
Tonight we are starting book 5 in the Blood and Ash series by Jennifer Armentrout, A Soul of Ash and Blood. We have read the first half, which was through the chapter titled Just a Name. This will be another spoiler-free series as long as you've read through our current reading section.
Now you can discuss with us, spoiler free, chapter by chapter, in our club on the Feeble app. A quick welcome to those of you who have found us over there and are now joining us here.
Also, please do all the things, liking, following, and subscribing on all of our platforms.
These are romantic fantasy books that are intended for adults. We will be talking about war, gore, and no pants dances.
So, this is your content warning. Our discussions are not suitable for little listening ears. We hope you are all reading along with us, and we can't wait to hear your thoughts and theories as well.
So let's get a quick recap. We left off the last book, The War of Two Queens, with a dead bitch queen, a awoken grumpy old dude who happens to be the king of the next door neighbor's gods in Elysium. Reerbut is taking Uncle Malik back home to mom and dad. Professor Nigdis has entered the chat and has some homework for us, which is find Daddy Iris and Jadis and kill said grumpy old neighbor Colas. But don't forget to put those two teeth under your pillow for the tooth fairy tonight, Poppy, because you have officially completed the culling. Speaking of which, do not let me forget that the tooth fairy has to come to my house tonight as well.
Oh,
And I'm
really?
so, yes, so 100%. Do you want to start? Do you want me to
Sure.
start?
No, I can start.
Okay.
I can start. All right. So basically, this book starts off with them walking through some tunnels and
Yep.
killing
But it
Ascended.
doesn't say it's Castiel's point of view. Like you figure it out all of a sudden that it's
That
Castiel's
is
point of
very
view,
true.
which was like weird at
It was
first.
weird. Yeah, so it is Castiel's point of view. So they're walking through some tunnels, they're killing some Ascended, and I think maybe there's some Craven there too. I don't remember. But and then they get to they're looking for Iris or Iris, whatever, however you say it.
Mhm.
They get to the place where his cage is at. And this is Nectus, Kieran, Castiel, and Poppy, right? There's or no, and Delano. Delano or Delano, however you say that.
Delano.
Um,
But I think
yeah.
before we get to Iris, they have this conversation
Mm-hmm.
about Nictis is talking about you are so much like him, and then Poppy
Yes.
says who?
Yeah.
Yep.
So I
And
actually have
Nictis,
that quote.
oh, do you?
I
Okay.
do. I do. Yeah. So I don't remember exactly. Well, I don't remember exactly what happened, but like Poppy is having like some weird headaches and she's not feeling
Mhm.
very good. Um, there's an earthquake-ish, I guess you could say, because apparently there's a god awakening, another god that's close by
Mhm.
that's awakening. And when that happens, like the whole tunnel starts to kind of crumble a little bit. Castiel and Kieran both and Delano, like they all crowd around Poppy. And Nectus is like, oh, you guys are so cute. She's the only one in here that would probably survive the walls crumbling down on all of us. But
Mhm.
nice job. And then I think that's the part where Nectus is
Oh
like,
yeah.
you're so much like him. And then Poppy was like, who? And
Mhm.
Nectus is like, he like his ancestor. Um,
He said the one his bloodline is descended from,
yes.
and then they get
Yes.
interrupted, and I pissed me off
Yeah.
because I've been saying it for a while. I think Castile is
Mm-hmm.
related to Theon. Theon? Sure, we're gonna say
Theon,
Theon.
Theon, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
One of the
so okay,
twins or
so
whatever.
from Nectus, I actually have the quote. It says, one side of
Okay.
the Draken's mouth curled up, and another too long moment of silence passed. You are far too much like him. Like who? Poppy asked. His pupils dilated. The one his bloodline is descended from. What the fuck? Kieran muttered under his breath, and then said louder, who was that? A shadow of a smile appeared on the Draken's face. You mean to ask who is that? So whoever it is
Uh-huh.
still
Is
alive.
still alive.
Mm-hmm. Basically, then get through all that. They find Eris. He's in the cage. He's in his cave cat form,
Uh-huh.
and he's more animal than man. But everyone's like, stay back, stay back. He's mostly animal. Poppy is able to kind of like she did for Castiel. She's able to reach through and put her hand on him and feed her good vibes into him and gets him to calm down, turn back into a man. And he's very like disoriented and whatnot. Um, Nectus gets the cage open, and then, I mean, basically he's like, "Who were you?" And she's like, "I'm your daughter, Poppy." And then he's like, "Where's my other daughter?" Speaking of Millie.
Mhm.
Um, and then they're about to like take him and get him out, and then Poppy starts to act all weird. She goes to try and stand up and she gets dizzy. And then she confesses that she's been having headaches and hasn't been feeling super good all day and kind of blows it off. And then all of a sudden she passes out. Actually,
Mhm.
Iris passes out first.
Yeah, I
And
think
Nectus is,
Iris passed
yeah,
out.
Iris passes out first. And Nectus is like, oh, don't worry, he's in stasis. He's just sleeping. I need to get him home so he can ground himself, which is what they call it when the roots and everything go up over him.
Mhm.
Um,
Yep.
he's like, I just need to get him home. And then, like, 5 minutes later, Poppy passes out. And apparently, she also is going into stasis because she's not quite, like, she has to go into stasis to finish the culling
Finish the calling,
completely.
yeah.
Yeah. And then, so she passes out. Of course, Castiel's freaking out. And Nectus is like, don't worry, it's normal. She's just finishing the culling. He's like, however, there's a chance she might lose her memory while she's asleep. Little minor side note, she might not know who you are or who anyone else is or who she is. um, so Castiel starts freaking out. Nexus is like, don't worry, just talk to her. That's what worked for Niktos when the consort was in stasis, basically.
Mhm.
So then, yeah, he tells Castiel, just talk to her. Just let
Mhm.
her hear your voice and maybe she'll remember you. Like, it's very rare that that happens, but it can happen. Which made me nervous because I'm like, okay, he said it, so is it going to happen?
Probably. But
But I
like
also wonder if it was just setting up this book because this book was all Castiel talking to Poppy.
I know. And like this was right where I was like, I'm gonna hate this. Because it's just like past stories and I mean,
Oh, I loved it.
okay, well we can keep going.
I liked it because honestly, it was like a break, a little
It
bit of
was
a
a
break
break
from all the conflict. I
and like
love these books, but at some point,
reflection of what's
yeah,
gone down.
reflection.
Okay, what's gone
Also,
down in the first book. That's it.
and I didn't love the first book. I mean, I liked it, but I didn't like it
I
as much
loved
as
the
the
first
rest
book.
of them. I had such a hard time getting into Poppy's character in the first book.
Hmm.
Like, I'm fully into it now. But getting to go back and hear it from Castiel's point of view and, like, kind of relive the first book now that I love her was kind of fun.
That's true. I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah. All
Okay.
right, so our next chapter was called On the Rise. These are all okay. So Poppy is in stasis. She's sleeping. They're in Wayfair Castle, and so they found some chamber for her, like a bedroom for her to be comfortable. Because that was Nectus's advice. He's like, just find somewhere for her to be comfortable and wait it out. Who knows how long it'll take?
Hmm.
So she's laying there. Castiel is talking to her. So he decides to start telling her his point of view from when he came to the castle, to that very castle actually, to
Macedonia, yeah.
yeah, or no, yeah, not yeah, yeah, to Macedonia. So when he came to Macedonia, when he started seeing her and all that. So he's sitting there and he starts from the beginning. So he starts to retell the tale of what happened before he met her and when he enacted his plan to take her as the maiden. And that's basically all we kind of learn about. So then we go into the scent of rot. Again, recap from Castile. So this was about his Lieutenant Smith. So we know that that Poppy used to like watch him train out of the window of the castle.
Mhm.
So this is him like in the lineup, like I don't know.
Knows she's watching.
Yeah. So he's got his Lieutenant Smith or Smythe. I'm not sure.
Sure.
Um, kind of a weasel of a man.
Hmm.
Anyways, doesn't like
Makes me think of
Castiel.
Duke Wesselton from Frozen.
Yes.
I don't know why. It's
Yes,
Wesselton.
Wesselton.
Anyway.
Um. Anyway, so they're standing there like they're all in like I guess you could say they're like in formation probably. And Smith's giving Castiel a hard time and whatever. Anyways, Castiel looks over and he notices a young guard named Joel, and he's acting kind of weird. So he's coming back from who knows where, and
Outside of the
bringing his
walls.
horse. Yeah, yeah, and bringing his horse back to the stables. And he's like, yeah, he's not acting right. So that's how
Mhm.
that chapter ends, basically.
So he died with his dreams. So this is later. He goes to see this kid, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's saying about how this kid has a bloodstone dagger. And he mentions about how, from what Castile knows, is that the bloodstone is made of the rocks off the cliffs of Sion,
Mm-hmm.
made from petrified blood tears from the
Mm-hmm.
gods.
I'm glad you picked up on that because I definitely missed that.
Yep, that's about all I
And
got. But
I've been wondering how the bloodstone was made because we
uh
know where the shadow stone comes from.
yeah. And why
But
is that like the only thing that can
interesting.
kill the Craven?
And the Ascended, right?
Or
Well, I
yeah,
think the shadow stone can
maybe I got
also
that
kill the
backwards, but
Ascended.
yeah.
But yeah, so basically he goes to see Joel. He's like, he can tell that he'd been bitten by a craven. He could tell that day when he brought his horse back. So he goes to see him that night in the barracks and basically just gives him, I mean, they have conversations and stuff, but end of the chapter, he gives him the death with dignity.
Okay, so then we have it's called an omen,
Hmm.
and it's a recap of training with Victor. And Victor says, all it takes is a second for your enemy to gain the upper hand, nothing more than the length of a heartbeat, given to either arrogance or vengeance, to lose all of which truly matters. And if that isn't something you've yet learned, dot, 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 you will.
Mm.
And then Castiel says they felt like a warning, an omen of things to come. And this kind of
Mm.
goes with like what I've got a little bit later, but
Okay. Okay, we're back in Poppy's room. Poppy's sleeping peacefully, enjoying her nap, and Castiel is sitting there talking to her. Um, saying how he was wrong to make so many assumptions about her and who she was and her character, and then tells her that um, he hadn't met her yet in this
mhm.
retelling of this story. He hadn't yet met her yet, but he was about to dot 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 moving into the next portion. Who I Was is the name of this chapter. We're back to recapping. Castile is talking with Jansen, Commander Jansen, who
Mhm.
he mentions multiple times as a
Yeah,
shifter,
and he
right? A
was a
shifter?
shifter, a
Yes, shifter.
changeling. Yeah.
Changeling, that's what it is. Yep, he was a changeling. He's been a part of the guard for a long time with the sole purpose of being able to get the Atlanteans like infiltrated into
Yep.
the soulless armies and stuff.
Yep.
So the Ascended have no idea that Jansen is actually Atlantean and he's a changeling and all that. So, anyways, Castiel is talking with him, and um, he's the one who made it possible for Castiel and Kieran and others from Atlantia to be placed within the guard, the Royal Guard, and the Rise Guard, and all
The
that.
city guard. Yeah.
Yep, all that. Because Kieran is currently working as a city guard,
City
and then
guard.
obviously
Yeah.
Castiel is like top tier.
Mhm.
Um, and then Jansen talks about how the Ascended killed his first and second born children, and he'll do anything to take them
Mhm.
out. So that was an interesting just a little background because kind of turns evil-ish.
Yep.
Kind of made him seem a little more human. Okay, so then I found this a little bit interesting. Castile and Kieran are talking. This is still recap. Um, they're wearing their uniform and weapons of the Soulless Guard, their enemy, but they're undercover. So,
Mhm.
and then Castile notes how the royal crest of the blood crown, it's a circle with an arrow through it, which we knew.
Mhm.
But according to the blood crown, it's a symbol of infinity and power. However, Castile notes that in the language of the gods, it actually represents something else, and it represents death. So I thought
Yeah.
that was kind of cool. Not cool, just interesting.
Interesting. Yeah.
Hmm. Okay, so then we move on to the next chapter titled "The Only Way I Knew How." So this is recap from Castile about the beginning of the night at the Red Pearl. So remember how Poppy was like,
Yeah.
"Was there someone in here with you
Was there
before?"
somebody in
Thinking it
here?
was like
Yeah.
a woman or
Because there was
something
two
like that.
glasses or whatever. It's the
Yeah.
whiskey glasses they're
So it was
drinking out of.
actually Jansen, Jericho, and Kieran.
Yep.
So they're having a little meeting, going over how things are gonna work and whatnot. Then Poppy comes in. So Castiel's point of view from when Poppy pushes her way in through the door, and he actually talks about how he truly thought it was Britta at first
At
because she
first.
had Britta's cloak on or whatever.
Yep.
Um, And
I
then
bet
he's
he was
like,
just
"Oh,
really
she
drunk.
feels really different and she smells really different. And interesting. I must have been really drunk the last time I was with her." And then he finally realizes who he's actually with. Then we
And so we
move on to the
have
next chapter.
the maiden and the red pearl.
Yep. And basically, it's just more recap from
The
Castile
first.
about his
Yep.
first interaction with Poppy at the Red Pearl. Just
Yep.
his point of view.
And then we have two brief moments.
Yep. So then we have recap from Castile on when Kieran came to the door. He's in the middle of talking with Poppy and feeling her up and all that. And then Kieran comes knocking and says, "The envoy has arrived." And you and I did have questions about, like, what was this envoy, this
What is
shipment,
this?
whatever.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And so then we find out that the envoy was actually Emil and Arden, and I think
Yep.
maybe somebody else. Anyways, Kieran pulls Castile away so that basically so that he could feed and they
Yeah.
could have a little meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then Castile feeds from Emil, which honestly the banter between Castile and Emil is
hmm
hilarious. And you can tell that Emil has feelings for Netta way back then.
Way back then. He is still one of my favorites.
I've taken a minute to warm up to him. Honestly, he's just kind of been like a back burner thought for me, but all of a sudden he's like, I like
Of
this guy.
Laura Two
He's
Queens,
funny.
I started really liking everybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he's funny. I like him. I didn't like him at first because he followed Alistair around and I didn't trust Alistair.
Yeah.
And so
True.
that's why I didn't like him. I was very leery of him at first. And now I'm like, nah, he's a good guy. I like him.
Well, right at the end of this, they send him back to Atlanta to keep an eye on Alistair too.
Oh, I didn't put that together. You're right. That's why he's always following him around.
It's in your notes, but yeah.
Well, yeah, I didn't put it in there because I thought of that
Oh
though.
yeah.
I just put it in
Because
there
then
because it
yeah, because you think
happened.
later it's like the end of the first book when we
Yeah,
meet Alistair and Emil's with him. Yep.
very true. Oh man, that makes sense why Emil was following him around. I totally did not put two and two together there.
Maybe I had more notes than I thought.
Yep.
So moving on to Hunted.
Yep. So more recap. Um, so Castile actually, like, obviously, like, he asked Poppy to wait for him. We both, like, we know that she didn't wait for him. It was a big,
Yep.
like, should I not? She decides not to. So she leaves. Well, he actually followed her. She doesn't know he followed her, but he followed her back through the woods and everything, back into the city and back to the castle. But when she's going through the
The
woods,
woods.
he notices that she was actually being basically hunted, which would be why
hmm
the title was called Hunted, by an Ascended. We
hmm
find out later who this guy was. Anyways, he takes him out. He never knew about it. Poppy never knew about it. And
Like leaves him to hang in a tree to see if anybody will find him before the sun
mhm,
comes up.
yeah, yeah, basically close to dead, but not quite. And or no, he did kill
Then
him, and then he puts him. Yeah.
yeah.
Anyways,
And then we move on to
yep.
Haunted.
Then haunted. So then we get some more. Basically, like Castiel's back in his room taking a bath, and he's having some lots of things going through his head. And we get a little more details about his time in captivity as he relives them in his memory, and then some other things that happen too with
Yeah,
him in the bath.
I mean it happens.
Yep.
And then we move back to the present and present number three.
Present number three. So we are back in the room with Poppy in the present. And
hmm
Castile continues explaining himself, everything that he was feeling after he was freed, um, which was a lot of emotions. I can understand why there was like
Yeah,
trigger warnings at the beginning of this book.
there
There was a lot
was.
here. Yeah.
Then we move on to the empty garden, which
Mm-hmm.
I have
You go
notes
ahead and
here, so
take
I'm
this
gonna
one.
take
Yep, take it.
it. So we are back to Melissa's death.
Mm-hmm.
We are back on the case, my friends. And he's what is he? He's overhearing the Duchess and Lord Mazine, I think, in the garden.
Yeah.
And
Talking
Lord
about the
Mazine,
incident.
yeah, he says he smells like the ground.
Mm-hmm.
What else smells like the ground? Do you remember? The Grims.
Oh, I thought he said he smelled like like jasmine, because that
I
was
don't
the
think
smell that was
so.
on her.
He said he smells like the ground.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I missed that.
Uh-huh.
But you're
Um,
right.
yeah, and that I think when Britta comes up to talk to him,
Mm-hmm.
she says about how Melissa was with Mazine before she
Mm-hmm.
died. So I
Yeah.
think we may have solved the case that Mazine for sure killed um
Melissa.
Melissa, and
Yeah.
we never got the end of that case. And I'm glad that I think we might have closed the book on that case now.
I agree.
I
And I
feel
also
better.
think that this was the first time that Castile was kind of introduced to the fact that Mazine is not a good guy. Be careful of
Mm,
him, kind of thing.
mm, yeah.
Yeah.
So then we have It Is Done.
Mm-hmm.
Um, talking about the night of when like Rylan dies and whatever.
Yes.
And I just put in here that Kieran was the one to howl. So that was the
Uh-huh.
howl that she hears.
Mm-hmm.
And that made me happy. Not happy, but it made me happy.
Like he was there. He's been there from the beginning.
Uh-huh.
Also, I think I called that back
I think
when
you did.
like back in book one, before we even knew anything about the Wolven except for that they were supposedly extinct. I was like, "Oh, this guy's a Wolven. He got called back like a dog." And
Uh-huh.
yeah. So obviously, I mean, like we knew that I had called that before this, but just another little like,
Woohoo.
yep,
Yep.
woohoo.
So then chapter he earned it. It feels
Mm-hmm.
weird sometimes saying words instead of numbers, but
Numbers, yeah.
so Cass goes back to where all some some little rinky-dink bar or something like that. I can't remember.
Yeah, not a good place. Like,
Yeah. And
mhm.
then Cass ends up chopping off Jericho's hand.
I was
And
wondering if
then
we were going to get backstory on that because we saw him in New Haven with one hand
yep,
instead of
yep.
two. So,
And so they're saying about how there's a couple other people there with him,
mhm.
and Lev is one of them. He is the dissenter. And then so I was like, oh, that's that guy that
Mm-hmm.
throws the Craven hand or whatever.
Yep.
And then all I could think about as soon as I read this was, what if it's not a Craven hand? What if it's Jericho's
Oh
hand?
gosh.
Remember, because Castiel takes the hand or
Yeah.
whatever, wraps it up and throws it at them.
Yeah, you're
And that's
right.
all I could think about. I was like,
Oh,
what
that's
if he
funny. I did
throws the
not think about
hand?
that.
Uh-huh. That's about like all I thought about in this
That's
section.
hilarious. Definitely didn't think about that.
Yep. And then we have a good man.
Yep. So basically, this is just a recap of Ryland's funeral, and
Mm-hmm.
this is kind of how Castiel finally first like wedges his way in there. Is like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
look, I could be a good new guard for you
Yeah, and that's when he sees like the bruising on Poppy's face from
from
Jericho, and it
Jericho and
just
all that, because he
pisses him off
knew.
more.
Yeah, well, he already knew that Jericho had harmed her, and then he sees it, and he's
Mm-hmm.
like, oh man, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then we have What Is Necessary. Um, and that one was a little much, and it was
This
absolutely heartbreaking.
was a lot because okay, so we find out that Castiel actually knew Lev beforehand. He knew
Mm-hmm.
exactly who he was. He brings Lev brings Castiel to a home where they find that there's like a father and a mother and a baby,
Mm-hmm.
and all of them are turned craven, including the baby, but the baby is still alive. Like that was creepy, disturbing, and way too much. That was a
Mm-hmm.
lot.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
can handle all the war and the gore and all that, but that
That one
didn't
was
like
too
that.
much.
That was
Yep.
a lot. Mm-hmm.
Yep. So meeting with the Duke. Um, what do you have?
Okay, so Castiel is recapping the meeting with Duke Tierman for an interview, which is something we didn't hear about in book one, but he kind of basically has like an interview about becoming Poppy's new guard because Ryland's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing really interesting happens there except for that.
Yep. And then we have natural order of things.
Yep, and I think I have a quote here, so let me pull that one up. Yeah, so Castile is telling about how he is, after this meeting with Duke Tierman, he's walking through the Wayfair Palace and he looks up at the paintings on the ceiling of the gods. Talks about how all of them look mostly like they're supposed to. Some of them are definitely off. Um, but then he talks about Nyktos and he says, but Nyktos, the king of the gods, was painted as he was throughout the entirety of Solus, his face and form showing only as silvery moonlight, which is was that stood out to me. That was interesting because in our last Flesh and Fire, we were having this, I guess you could call it a debate a little bit about like what the prophecy meant. And that was
Mhm.
one of the things in there was something, I can't remember what it was, but something about
It's the third part
the
of the
third
prophecy
piece
that
of the
Coles was
prophecy.
talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I thought
It's
that
like
was
silvery
interesting.
dragon. I can't remember, but
I can't remember either. I mean, I can pull it
I
up.
have
Do you want
to.
me to pull it up right now?
We don't have to, but if you want to,
Okay.
we can.
Do you want me to?
Yes.
Okay, let me. I can.
Did you
Okay,
find
so
it?
I did find it.
Okay.
I'm gonna read just the third portion of that prophecy again, real quick.
Mm,
For the one born of the blood and the ash, the bearer of two crowns, and the bringer of life to mortal, god, and draken, a silver beast with blood seeping from jaws of fire, bathed in the flames of the brightest moon to ever be birthed, will become one, and the great powers will stumble and fall, some all at once, and they will fall through the fires into a void of nothing. Those left standing will tremble as they kneel, will weaken as they become small, as they become forgotten. For finally the primal rises, the giver of blood and the bringer of bone, the primal of blood and ash. But it was the part where it says, a silver beast with blood seeping from its jaws of fire, bathed in the flames of the brightest moon to ever be birthed. Which at the end of the Flesh and Fire, Seraphina has that, I guess you could say, dream vision or whatever of
mm,
Nyktos in his wolf form. And she talks about how he was like bright as the moon.
mm,
And then
mm,
again here, Nyktos is faceless and all that. All you can see is like silvery moonlight.
yeah.
Face and form showing is only silvery moonlight. So I think that portion of the prophecy is talking about Nyktos.
Could be.
Mm-hmm. So, and then the last part of this chapter, I mean, so this is like that town council, city council meeting, basically when the
Yeah.
Tullises come up and ask that they can keep their baby and all that. And Castile he's the one. So he's the one who has the idea to get the Tullises out as a whole
Yeah.
family, and who does.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
That's
that's
why
where
we
he
see
like
him
has
later
that
in New
idea.
Haven. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we have the maiden unveiled.
Yep. So this is again just Castile talking about the meeting in Duke Tierman's office when he officially meets Poppy for the first time. Duke Tierman tells her to take her veil off so he can see her and all that.
Oh, goodness. And then we have Poppy.
Yep. So now Castile is telling the first time that he's guarding Poppy's door, and this is when Poppy is telling Tawny about the night at the Red Pearl, and he's got that awesome Atlantean hearing so he can
So he
hear
can
their
hear
little
through the
whispers
door.
and everything that she's saying. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yep. So Castile talking about a talk that he had with Victor about the rules about Poppy and like how to guard her and when to
Yeah.
guard
And
her
what
and
she
all
can
that
do, what
stuff.
she
And
can't do, which is
yeah.
almost everything. Yeah.
And this is when Victor is like officially puts it on record that he does not really like Castile and he thinks he's arrogant and cocky.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then we have made a new friend.
So apparently during their time in Macedonia, Kieran and Castile would like apprehend and question violently vampires or ascended that came from the capital on the whereabouts of Malik.
Mm-hmm.
And so this particular recap was them questioning a guy, an ascended called Lord De Vries.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he's, I guess, been parading around town saying how he came from the capital and he knows so much and all this stuff. So they are questioning him. Um, and then this guy says how he was there when Castile was held captive, and then he retells some of the more gruesome details from Castile's time there. We'll just leave it at that. But
Yeah. Yep. And then we jump back to the present and present number 4.
yeah, and this one was pretty, nothing happened. Castile's just talking to Poppy.
Yeah.
She's unconscious.
This might have been
Yeah.
the time he was washing her feet.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Nothing important happened.
Yeah. And then we have the maiden speaks.
So this is the time when Castile talks about how he escorted Poppy to the Duke's chambers for that first time. But this
Mhm.
is also the first time that she actually spoke to him because she was afraid to speak to him because she was afraid he was going to realize that she was the one in the Red Pearl. So this is the first time he gets her to speak to him.
Yeah. I think this is also when he talks about her tripping up the stairs, which we
I
laughed
think so.
so hard about
Yep.
because I had just broken my ankle when it happened and it was
Yep.
hilarious. And then we have A twisted irony of sorts.
So Poppy has nightmares, and she has one while he's guarding her door. So he slips in, which I don't remember if we even know this from book one that
Yeah.
he was in her room that first time she had a nightmare when he was guarding her door. But apparently he was in there and he's hiding in the shadows. Um, and then she falls back to sleep and he leaves.
Yeah, because he's like, man, I'm being a creep right now. And then we jump back to the present number 5.
So again, talking to Poppy while she's out, and just starts telling her about the night on the rise and how that's when he started to see her as Poppy and not just as the maiden. So
And then
then we
we
go
have,
into the next one, which is A Monster in Me, and you can go ahead.
oh, you're good. Um, and they just have this moment because Victor's supposed to be watching her. And so Castiel's like, I'm gonna go let out some anger. And Victor just happens to be out on the battlefield too. And he's thinking about how it would be so easy to take Victor out in this moment
Mm-hmm.
and decides not to do it or whatever. And then Victor looks back at him and they have this like moment, right? Where they both
Mm-hmm.
were like, oh shit. And then
She's not
like,
guarded.
right. And then Victor goes like motherfucker or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then like, so this is why I'm starting to kind of wonder just like all these like instances with Victor. Like I feel like we've got more of them with Castile and Poppy than we did with Poppy and Victor.
Yeah.
Or with Castile and Victor
Mm-hmm.
instead of Poppy and Victor. And I'm wondering that if like because what we know what he is, right? If he was supposed to keep Poppy and Castile on track, not just
Mm-hmm.
Poppy, or was he just there to keep Castile on track? That was my
Interesting.
thought and wonderings from all of it.
See,
But
my thoughts on this and wonderings was okay, so Victor is an area, and he is, or not an area, he's a fate. Or, I
no,
don't know.
no,
Are they
he's a
one and the
victor.
same?
He's
He's a
making sure
Victor. That's right.
he's
They're all
making sure
different. Good grief.
that
He's
the
the
things happen
original
the way they're
Victor.
supposed to. Yeah.
Yes. The original
He's the
Victor that
only
could
one that
actually
remembers his
remember.
previous lives.
Yeah,
And we think he may also be Leo.
right.
Yep.
And so I'm wondering, why did he dislike Castile so much? He kind of, in a way, knew what he was there to do. Like, he knew he
Hmm.
was there to protect Poppy. Why was
Or
he?
does he know what Castile is going to try to do? And he's got to make sure we make this one little faint little string over here happen.
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
he's also there to make sure Castile doesn't fuck it up. Does that make sense?
Okay, okay. Yeah, I like that train of thought better because I'm thinking, does he know that, like, does he think that Castiel's bad and she's supposed to? Because remember, he also kind of encouraged Poppy towards being the maiden and sort of chastised her when she wasn't all into the whole chosen maiden thing a little
But
bit.
yeah, but to think about it, the way they were talking about it at the end of the first Flesh and Fire is like everything has to line up for
Mm-hmm.
this one little string to happen.
Right.
So, I don't know. Who knows? Oh, so then we have you're an absolutely stunning, murderous little creature, and that's one of my favorite lines. Um, and that's basically when he catches her on the rise,
Mm-hmm.
up there flinging arrows and being a badass on his way
Mm-hmm.
back to go try and find her. And then we have that dress will be the death of me, which this line still makes me kick my feet and giggle because
I
it's a
know.
nightgown, it's not a dress, sir.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Um, he says like those shoes will be the death of you or something like that. And he goes, and that dress will be the death of me. She's
Yep.
wearing slivers.
Yep.
Um, and so then we have good graces. Um, I don't know what did you have about this actually?
Um, so this was like after he left Poppy, after the whole
Okay.
conversation on the rise and everything, and so then he goes to talk to Victor,
Oh yeah, that's right.
not to tell on her, but kind of to be like, "Hey, did you realize she was slipping out of her room? Like, why was she
Mm-hmm.
up there?" And so he talked to her first, and then yeah, then he goes to talk to Victor.
No. And then like this was another time when I was like, I'm loving this conversation
I know,
between Hawk and Victor.
I
Like this
did
is
like that. Yeah.
loving it. Well, because then Victor also is like, why didn't you report me? Like you had the chance to report me to Tierman or whatever. Like,
Hmm.
why didn't you? And he's like, well, I don't remember what he said, but so just like another time where Victor's trying to like figure him out, you know what I
Hmm.
mean? And
Yep.
it makes sense to me. So
Yeah, you can see how Victor's like really trying to protect Poppy and he's wary of Castile, but I don't know.
I don't know if it's weary, but I don't know what it is. So
Hmm.
and then we have From Blood and Ash, which is the whole scene out in the, I'm gonna say courtyard, garden, whatever.
Garden.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's when the Tiermans are addressing the townsfolk of what's going on and everything. Um, and then my only thought from this was just like, okay, maybe it wasn't Jericho's hand because
Hmm.
they said it's still a Craven hand. But
Yeah. Yeah, they did say it was.
then we have A Touch of Peace.
So this is where Castiel's talking about how when Poppy was with the priestess, and that whole situation,
Mm,
when he steps in, when the priestess is about to slap Poppy, and then he's walking her back to her chambers afterwards, and this is the very first time that she feels his pain and takes it away, which
mm,
is oh no, this is the second time because the first time she did it was in the Red Pearl. And then this is
mhm.
the second. So this is the second time and he just talks about how he felt different and lighter and all this stuff. But he had no idea what was going on.
And then we have Who I Was Becoming.
So this was a little piece of the story that we didn't get in book one. Apparently, after they were walking through the hallway and Poppy took away his pain, it lasted for a while and he was actually able to sleep that night really
Mhm,
deeply without any nightmares or anything. He sleeps through when he would normally be out training and he wakes up to Britta coming into his room the next morning to clean his room.
mhm,
And she propositions him, he refuses, and then he's like, "What's wrong with me?" And then he
mhm,
realizes that it's because she's not Poppy. And all of a
mhm.
sudden, his thoughts are only on her.
Yep. And then we jump back to the present,
Hmm.
present six. Let's see. Yeah, so Kieran and Castile are talking, and he's telling him kind of what's going on outside right now.
Hmm.
City is mostly secured. Um, we have Nail is out tracking Malik, because
Hmm.
Malik went after uh
Millie.
Millie. And then Hisa and some other people are going with these ascended that are showing them the tunnels about how they moved around during the daytime. And then we have Daddy, and then we have Daddy Valen, and he is delayed in Patagonia, but he is still on his way, which makes me nervous.
I know.
And then Delano is napping on the foot of the bed. So that's kind
Yeah.
of recap of where we're at right now. So then we have Hot, Heavy, and Wanting.
Yeah, not much here except for Castiel again is talking with Poppy. I don't remember at what point here, but again, he's realizing he has feelings for her.
Yeah. And then we have Plans Have Changed.
So this one was interesting because we won't go into too much detail here,
Uh-huh.
but so this is in the Red Pearl, and so Castiel goes back there, says how he hasn't been back there since the night when Poppy was there because it just doesn't interest him anymore. But he goes to the room that him and Poppy were in, and
Mm-hmm.
Kieran is there, and he's got a girl with him. Kieran asks if he wants to join. So apparently they're used to sharing, which I thought was
Uh-huh.
interesting. Again, this is where I'm like, I
This
don't
isn't the
know
first
where.
time they've shared. That's all we
Yep.
know. Uh-huh.
That's what we know. So then after that,
Okay, could we just talk real quick about
hmm
how like Castiel just goes and sits there and
he
he's just
just
like
sits in the
waiting for them to
corner.
be done.
I know. They are
I don't know
way too
why
comfortable with
they
each
are way
other.
too comfortable with each other, but at the same time, it was just like, and like, dude's cleaning himself up and just like having an actual conversation with him.
I
And
know.
I don't know why
It's
this
just
was
like,
so funny.
okay, cool.
But
Normal
I was
everyday stuff going on
right,
here, I guess. I don't
exactly.
know.
But at the same time, that so fits Kieran's like character that
Oh,
it's
totally. He's like
oh
so not phased by anything.
nothing, like nothing make shocks this boy. It's
Nope.
hilarious. All right.
So they talk, him and Kieran are talking, and this is where Kieran is like, "Oh, you have feelings for her." And he's like, "No." Um,
Mm-hmm.
because the original, and then also we find out that like they're talking about their plans, and
Mm-hmm.
the original plans were actually to take Poppy the night of the rite when the dissenters come in and start attacking and create a
Mm-hmm.
diversion. But we know that that's not when he takes her. He doesn't take her until
Mm-hmm.
after that. So I does make you wonder like what changed? Why did
Mm-hmm.
he not take her that night?
And then we have Miss Willa Collins because we have to bring her up.
This part was funny to me
It was so funny.
because this is like Castiel telling the story of when Poppy sneaks out to the library. So he obviously followed her. He knows how she's getting out and all that. He follows her. She doesn't know he's following, but he sees her up on the ledge. He goes into the library and then he calls for her to come back inside. Then
See,
he
so hold
sees,
on. Like, I didn't
hmm
put this in my notes, but I was like, yes, he's gonna like overhear whoever
I
the Duke
know,
was talking to. So we know
I
who the
know,
Duke was talking to. And of course, he comes in after that.
I know. I was thinking that too.
Yeah,
But
I was
then
mad about that.
this part was funny because he's like, sees what he's like, "What book did you grab?" And he grabs it from her and he's like, "The Diary of Miss Willa Collins." And he goes,
Mhm.
Willa Collins, Miss Willa Collins. Why does that name sound so familiar? Like,
Hmm.
dude.
So he apparently has met her at some point.
Oh yeah, he would have had to have. I mean, she's like on the council for his parents, and he's
Hmm.
like 200 years old. So apparently, obviously, he's met her at some point.
And he just can't remember
Why
why her
would he not
name
put that
sounds
together?
familiar.
Willa Collins,
Hmm.
Wilhelmina Collins. Like, anyways,
Hmm.
I guess he's got a lot on his mind right now. Um, but then yeah, that part was kind of funny. Like his point of view from teasing Poppy about the diary and
Or
trying to get
just
her to
like
read and
how like she thinks she's being sneaky and he's
yeah,
like she's not being sneaky and
I
it's
know.
really cute. The way he keeps calling her adorable is honestly funny.
Yeah,
He's like, she's
yeah,
so cute. She doesn't even know. She thinks she's being all stealthy and
yeah.
she's not. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have our last little story or chapter, whatever we want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Just a Name.
Yep, and this one is just a bunch of talk as they walk back from the library. She's like, "You don't have to escort me." And he's like, that wouldn't make me a very good guard." So he escorts her back to the palace. But anyways, this is the first time though that he calls her Poppy for the first time to her face.
Hmm.
And that's
Or
how
she's
we
like,
finish
why
that.
did you call me Poppy or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So how are we liking it?
I mean, so far I love it, honestly. Like I
Okay.
said, like I love kind of taking a break from all the conflict and also getting a different point of view. And also how I wasn't like super into book one when we read it because I
Uh,
had a hard time with Poppy's character for some reason. So getting to go back through book one in a way from Castiel's point of view, I'm enjoying it a lot so far.
okay.
I'm really excited to read the rest of it. I think that it's for sure it has to end with her waking up and
Hopefully.
yeah, and hopefully remembering everything that's going on and them I'm guessing they're gonna like make a plan of how they're gonna handle the rest of the situation with
Yeah.
Colas. And then that's probably how this book is gonna end. That's my theories on this book.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan. I don't like going back in time and all that, but I mean there are some things, like I said, like with the whole like him and Victor thing that are making me think more. And then I feel like there's been a couple other little things that like we're supposed to pick on up on.
Hmm.
But I also wonder like, is this like a review of all the stuff that we need to actually know and remember and
Mm.
think about before the next book? You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Mhm.
But at this moment, I feel like this could have just been a novella. It didn't need to be like 600 pages, but
Yeah.
that's just me.
Or maybe she's gonna wake up in the middle of the book.
I hope so, because that would be like the next chapter, but I don't see it happening. We'll
Yeah.
see what happens.
Yeah.
Because at this point, she's only been asleep for like what, a couple days,
If that.
maybe,
I
if
mean, they
that.
did say how like the shadows under her eyes are getting better and stuff, so maybe she's coming through it.
Yeah.
Also, what kind of new powers is she going to wake up with? Because this is her finishing the culling. So, like, how
Yeah.
powerful is she going to be when she wakes up?
And we know she's a primal.
Yeah.
So, well, that's all I got.
All right. So, we hope that you are all enjoying the series as much as we are. We are first time readers to this series, so we hope that you're following along with us. Or if you've already read the series, we hope that our discussions can be a refresher for you before book 6 comes out in a few short weeks. Make sure to join us on Facebook and Instagram for more fun and conversations.
As well as our club on the Fable app, where you can discuss with us spoiler free, chapter by chapter. The next episode will be part 2 discussion of book 5 in the Blood and Ash series by Jennifer Armentrout, which is this one, A Soul of Ash and Blood. And we'll be doing chapters present 7 through the end of the book. We will be finishing this one out just in time for release day
Yeah.
of Primal of Blood and Bone.
If you are enjoying reading along with us or just enjoying our conversations and theories, be sure to like this video and hit that subscribe button on your way out.
And buddy reading any book with book besties is so much fun.
So make sure to share our podcast with your book besties. And if you don't have any book besties,
Then consider yourself one of ours. And until next time, fill those drinks with ice.
and your books with spice,
Bye.
bye.